Coming up this week off screen, NWA takes us straight out of Compton, Hayley Stanfield is barely lethal, Zac Efron assures us we are your friends, and Rupert Friend puts on the red tie in Hitman Agent 47. All of those to come, and so much more off screen.
This is Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. Off Screen. With the latest film news and reviews, this is Off Screen, the on-screen radio show.
Welcome to Off Screen. I'm Van Connor.
My name is Kase.
So should we start with Hitman Agent 47 this week?
Yes, let's do that. So this is a reboot, retread, whatever you want to call it.
Can we even call it a reboot? Because I don't think it acknowledges that the first attempt ever... Basically, for the layman's, there was a video game called Hitman,
Really?
and that spawned a few sequels, and it's quite highly regarded amongst, sort of gamers of a certain teenage age.
It is.
And then they tried to make a movie out of it in 2007, I believe, with Timothy Olyphantastic.
I feel like we say it every week now.
Timothy Olyphant or Olyphantastic, putting in his Olyphantastic performance as Agent 47, and the film was rubbish. And really po-faced and didn't want to, in any way
had no fun.
Acknowledge that it was based on a video game. It had no fun to it. It was just dull. And it didn't take off. It wasn't a franchise. And now we've got, a reboot. We've got a second attempt at it, starring Rupert Friend, who you just told me took over for Paul Walker after his
Paul Walker was originally
untimely demise.
Yeah.
And so we've now got Rupert Friend, Hannah Ware, and Zac Quinto in Agent 47, which it was Agent 47 Hitman, and then as the film has
it's now
reached
Hitman
closer,
Agent 47 in giant fonts.
Yeah, now that they seem to have more confidence in it, it's Hitman Agent 47. Yeah. So basic gist around this one is Agent 47, the titular assassin, basically sets out to track down the scientist who created the Agent program. The Agent program, which of course spawned 47, who is a genetically enhanced, he's stronger, he's faster, he's more intelligent, a killer. The scientist who created the program disappeared long ago, and he decided to use the scientist's estranged daughter, played by Hannah Ware, to track the scientist down, crossing paths with another agent who may be out to protect her, played by Zac Quinto. Here's a clip.
You know why you're still alive? Because I chose not to kill you, but they will.
Why do they want to kill me?
We were part of the same program. Speed, strength, and intelligence. They want our DNA to build an army.
Okay, untie me.
You're the same as me. So untie yourself.
Right, so all the clips for Hitman are quite action-oriented, so we don't really get to have much dialogue, so you have to forgive me the whole rescue yourself.
I can't imagine there's a great deal of dialogue in the entire film.
It is quite a talky film, but it is a sort of a spectacular action fest in its way. It's very schlocky. It's very... put it this way, it has that Resident Evil pedigree to it. In terms of being
that
based
level
on
of
a video
CG.
game. Yeah, it has that to it. There is a moment in I think later in the second act of Agent 47 in which Hannah Ware's character turns to the Hitman and asks, "Who would want more of you?" Referring obviously to the assassins of his kind, and you can't help but take it as this meta statement of the whole film. Like, who saw 2007's Hitman and said, "Do you know what? We need to take another shot at this." Because you wonder. I mean, first of all, this is a TV series concept, not a movie, and the movie really does confirm that wholeheartedly. It's a lot better than the first one. Which, I mean, did you see the first one?
I have seen the first one.
Did you forget it as quickly as I did?
Pretty much straight after I walked out of the cinema.
That's it. You didn't remember it. I think most men remember that Olga Kurylenko got her kit off in it, and that was about it.
Yeah, that was memorable.
That was really about it. And also that Timothy Olyphant was a pretty fun Agent 47, even though the film was in no way fun. So I do think this is far more entertaining. It hits the ground running with this really sort of bolstered tongue-in-cheek sensibility, which the last attempt lacked. This is very aware that it's based on a video game. This plays to the video game sensibilities very, very well. And it plays kind of like a video game-enhanced Transporter movie in a strange way. It has that Euro action feel that Transporter movies have. This has that going for it as well. Rupert Friend, who I mostly know from Homeland now. I think most people do, really. I know him from Homeland.
I know, I've seen him in quite a few just different parts. He was in Startup with Ben Mendelsohn.
He was, you pointed out, he was the counsellor.
He was the counsellor.
And he was one of the, I think when I reviewed it, I said he was one of the better things in it. But
you weren't a great fan, no, you weren't.
No, I wasn't a fan of Startup, but he's quite likeable as this sort of taciturn, shadowy assassin, and it is one of those sort of deadpan, humourless characters, but he manages to inject some fun into it. You know, that sort of nonchalant violence is the only way, kind of, but I'm fun about it. Hannah Ware I like very, very much. She's got leading lady appeal. She's got sort of gritty and engaging acting chops, and she has actually got the ability to handle the physical attributes of the character. And it is very, very surprising that in 2015 we still live in a cinematic culture in which video game adaptations are arguably the frontrunners for compelling female leads in action movies. How depressing is that?
It's strange, isn't it? I mean,
it is very strange.
The whole superhero boom, that's still not taken off for leading ladies, is it?
It really isn't. But video game adaptations, they've got it right. Zach Quinto, brilliant sort of is he or isn't he a villain type of character.
Yeah. You don't know quite what side.
You don't quite know.
It's a bit of a shadow.
A little bit of a shadow character. Although I will say this, the first half hour of this film really made me want to see Zach Quinto as the sole lead in an action movie. Genuinely, I want to see that. I'm not sure if you could pull off something like Uncharted, but that would work. When they make an Uncharted,
as Drake.
You could kind of pull that off. That'd be interesting.
Being Spock and Drake, that's two different sides.
So you've got a basic 3-act structure. The first act is like a rejigged Terminator. The second act is your origin story. The third act goes full Resident Evil. With Resident Evil sans mutants, basically.
Okay.
And there's not much that's going to challenge the audience. But given the sort of the video game origins and its sort of franchise roots and its sensibilities, it really has no need to challenge anyone. You kind of know what you're getting going in, and it does deliver on those things. It's not a very good film by any stretch of the imagination. It really isn't.
Yeah, don't go kidding yourself.
That's it. I mean, it's got a respectable level of sort of stylistic, verve and sort of a very confident swagger from. It's got Alexander Bach directing, whom I'm not familiar with his work outside.
No, I'm not sure what else he's done.
I mean, it would be doing a real favour to call it above average, if we're really honest. But it is enjoyable, and because it's not the first attempt to do this series, because it's a movie for 15-year-old boys based on a video game for 16-year-old boys, you can't really expect.
No, it's not going to be a great deal of depth.
But you know what? For its mandate, for its sort of functional logline, you know what? It serves the task perfectly. Basically, it's enjoyable, but it's rubbish. It's rubbish,
right.
But it's not as rubbish as you expect it to be.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say that.
That works.
Should we do some film news then,
Let's
guys?
do some film news, man.
Okay, so we've got some interesting stuff to cover this week.
Definitely.
Have you heard about the Sofia Vergara project? Because she's yet to really break through into films. She's the highest paid actress on US TV now.
Yeah, I think the figures were recently released with how much she's just made on Modern Family. It's crazy.
It really is. So she's the highest paid actress on TV for Modern Family. Her attempt to break through into film didn't exactly go down well with Hot Pursuit. And now she's signed on for a heist comedy called The Brits Are Coming. Have you heard of this one?
I have heard of this, actually.
So this is going to
start...
Well, yeah. I mean, the title's been used quite a bit. The Brits. I think it's in every Aaron Sorkin show. There is an episode called The Brits Coming.
It's definitely a West Wing episode.
So definitely, and I think there is in the Newsroom as well.
Right.
But this is going to be a heist comedy starring Tim Roth, Uma Thurman, Parker Posey, Crispin Glover, Alice Eve, Stephen Fry. And, go figure.
Yeah, wow.
So this is going to be the story of a con artist couple, played by Uma Thurman and Tim Roth, who are in debt to a gangster, played by Maggie Q, who I forgot, who go to Los Angeles to commit a jewelry heist against Tim Roth's ex-wife, played by Alice Eve, and Sofia Vergara plays the mistress of Alice Eve's husband, who's going to be played by Crispin Glover. Is that sounds
I'm
pretty good?
completely on board with that.
That sounds kind of like what you wanted Gambit.
I was just
to
going
be.
to say, it sounds like a better version of Gambit.
Doesn't it? Gambit really disappointed.
That was a
me.
letdown.
So Sam Worthington, everyone's favourite actor. You know
The original Jai Courtney.
the original Jai Courtney, Jai Courtney 1.0, Jai Courtney 1.0, as opposed to Jai Courtney, who is in fact Sam Worthington 2.0.
Yeah, Jai Courtey, Salvation.
Exactly, yeah. Sam Worthington has signed on to star in an upcoming sci-fi movie called The Titan. Does this one?
I've been about this actually.
This is going to star Ruth Wilson, whom I like very much in Luther.
Yeah. Oh, she's great.
She's great in Luther. She played serial killer Alice.
Alice, yeah.
She's gonna be in this one along with Sophia Boutella from Kingsman. So the chick
Blade
with
Runner.
the Blade Runner from Kingsman. Yeah, and this is going to be a sci-fi adventure movie about a military family who are shot into space to conduct an experiment on genetic evolution. That sounds
quite interesting.
Intriguing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We've got a fair few decent sci-fi movies coming up, haven't we?
Sam Worthington doing sci-fi again.
Yeah, you wonder about that one.
Yeah.
We had Avatar. Was that enough? That's the question.
What else have we got?
Well, interesting enough, Melissa, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Is it Benoist?
Benoist. I would say Benoist, but I don't know.
Melissa Benoist, who a month from now is going to be TV's Supergirl. Have you seen the pilot?
I think he looks quite promising, yeah.
I've seen the pilot.
I've seen the pilot.
It's awful. And
we are on two different sides.
Are we on two different sides?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it shows some promise.
I think it's bad on almost every conceivable level because everything about it's a mischance. But that's for the TV podcast, not this film one.
It is, yeah.
But right, so Melissa Benoist has joined the upcoming romantic drama Oxford. In which she will play a Rhodes Scholar, an American Rhodes Scholar who enrolls in Oxford University and finds herself at odds with a curmudgeonly teaching assistant played by Sam Heughan, who it turns out is secretly fighting a terminal illness. The two fall for each other and decide to dedicate the rest of their lives to making the most of every day by travelling the world. So this sounds like it's one for the Notebook crowd.
I was going to say, it's got a certain Nicholas Sparks-esque air to it.
How is this not written by Nicholas Sparks?
Because he doesn't do films outside of the US.
It would seem so.
Yeah.
Unless there's, a lake and someone sanding down a boat.
You have to have traditional boat sanding.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah.
Or building a house with
in Nicholas
two
Sparks'
hands.
world, there's no such thing as an unsanded boat. So there's no such things as an already sanded boat. Sorry, there are only
sanded boats.
So Mads Mikkelsen.
I love this news.
I do as well.
This cast, man, is coming together.
So Mads Mikkelsen last week was cast in Star Wars Rogue One. With Alan Tudyk.
Yeah,
and
he's
great. He's going to be a good guy. That's the shocker. Mads Mikkelsen's going to be a good guy in Star Wars Rogue One. But, of course, we don't want Mads Mikkelsen to be a good guy.
No,
we
don't.
want Mads Mikkelsen to be a villain, because that's what Mads Mikkelsen's awesome at.
And what film is he going to be the villain in?
Marvel's Doctor Strange.
Yes.
How awesome. So you're going to have a Marvel movie next year with Benedict Cumberbatch in the lead, a mentor played by Tilda Swinton, and two villains to be played by Chiwetel Ejiofor and Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, and Rachel McAdams as the romantic lead, if that pans out.
How awesome does this movie sound?
They are putting that cast together,
They
man.
really
It is
are.
so good.
I never thought I would see myself this excited about a Doctor Strange movie, but you know what? Here we are.
It's crazy, like, if that cast was released about 7 or 8 years ago, you didn't know what film was, you wouldn't think it was going to be a Marvel superhero. You think it was some kind of period drama.
If you put it out 7 or 8 years ago, what, Pitt the Elder from Amazing Grace is going to be Doctor Strange. Yay.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's all I knew Benedict Cumberbatch was. Pitt the Younger or Pitt the Elder? I can't remember. Pitt the Elder. Superhero nerd point for you, though, about Amazing Grace.
Oh, yeah?
It was... William Wilberforce was, of course, played by the first Mr. Fantastic, Ewan Grufford. Sorry, the second Mr. Fantastic, if we count Roger Corman.
I don't think anybody ever counts Roger Corman.
So Ewan Grufford, Reed Richards was, of course.
Horatio Hornblower himself.
Yeah, so Reed Richards and Doctor Strange have been in a film together. Go figure. Right, okay, so we review... let's do the top 10 then.
Let's do your top 10.
Let's do the top 10.
Number 10.
Minions, I've still not seen it.
You've still not seen it. It's on the way out now as well, strangely.
So, yeah, I don't know, you're probably just going to buy it me for Christmas, aren't you? It's probably just going to end up...
Not only am I going to buy it you for Christmas, Case, I'm going to buy you the deluxe box set that comes in an actual Minion. Which inevitably
resplendent with all the other Despicable Me films.
And it'll be the Minion short disc.
Minions wrapping paper.
It will be. That's exactly what I'm going to do for you for Christmas, Case, because you know what? The film is a lot of fun, sort of for a family audience. Alison Janney and Michael Keaton are great in it. They should have been the central sort of villain figures, but they're not. I think that's a waste. Okay. But you know what? The Minions are always fun. They're always engaging. What's not to love?
Number 9.
Okay, we have Trainwreck.
Which we loved. We both
do,
loved.
yeah. I don't know what else we can say about it. It's just there's fantastic cameos.
I'm saddened that it's down to number 9 already. I
don't know if it's really taken off in this country. It has in America.
It does, for me, confirm exactly how much weight the Judd Apatow name carries on its own without the Judd Apatow cast. Because that seemed to be the big experiment with this film. Can Judd Apatow's name sell a film starring more or less an unknown?
Yeah.
Because that's who Amy Schumer is in this country, as an unknown. She's sort of a known commodity in the US, but she's basically non-existent in the UK.
There's no Paul Rudd, there's no Seth Rogen, there's no usual Apatow co-host.
Exactly. Where's Jonah Hill in this, man?
Where is Jonah Hill? Yeah.
You could make the argument that Bill Hader counts, but to a mainstream audience, not so much. And it's a shame because the film's great. It's very, very funny. It's very heartwarming. It's very sharply written. And Amy Schumer is fantastic in it. And you know what? It gives Bill Hader something to do.
He's a romantic lead and he's fantastic at doing that.
Exactly. He's our Hollywood Case. That's what he is.
You flatter, sir.
Number 8.
Cool. Bad Education, the movie, straight in, number 8.
Straight in at number 8. Well, you know, I think that's kind of about where I saw it going, because it's not got the audience appeal of something like The In-Betweeners. It's not got the highbrow appeal of something like Alan Partridge. It is very much an eighth position sort of a film. I did laugh. I did find it funny, and because it knows its strengths and it plays to them. And its strengths, weirdly in this case, seem to be, you know what? Let's use Jack Whitehall as this sort of parable for the weak-chinned Etonian elite, the Devon public school crowd kind of a thing, and it works. It really does. I had a lot of fun with it. The cameo by Jeremy Irvin I didn't quite expect in there as well, and you've got Ian Glenn as a sort of antagonist.
You've already put me off with saying that Jeremy Irvin is in it.
But he's my horse, sir.
He's my horse.
Drippier than a rain pipe in a monsoon, that actor, unless it was that movie. What was that movie with Michael Douglas that I really loved?
Man, I still haven't seen that. The one where Michael Douglas hunts Jeremy Irvin.
Yeah, where Jeremy Irvin was hunted by Michael. He was awesome in there. But Bad Education, you know what? If you like the series, you're going to love the film. If you don't find the series funny, you're not going to find the film funny. It's exactly as good as the series was.
Okay.
Number 7.
This is a bit of a shame. New entry, Vacation.
Again, this is very much the fact that it's in at number 7. Like the Judd Apatow name, it tells you how much the Vacation brand actually means. You can't help but think actually that if it weren't for the Vacation sort of branding, wouldn't Ed Helms' family road trip comedy have gone in higher? And I kind of think it would. I think there's enough audience in that. I think maybe the National Lampoon side of it, the marketing it as this great reboot, might have been its shortcoming. And which, funnily enough, tied into something we said about the film, which was that the actual Chevy Chase sequence in it.
It's the most forced part of the film.
It does.
It
sinks it dead. But it's a film so full of laughs. It has so many great moments in it. It has a certain AMC cameo in there which had me in stitches, which we're never ever going to repeat on air because it's so good. You can't spoil it. And it had Charlie Day, a great appearance by Charlie Day in one of my favourite comedic scenes of the year, and also the greatest use of a Mariah Carey... Sorry, not Mariah Carey. Who did the original version without you?
Nielsen.
Nielsen?
It's Nielsen.
Okay, there
and
we
then
go.
Mariah Carey
covered it in the early 90s.
Sold loads of money. Sold loads of money, made loads of money.
Made loads of money. Sold loads of copies, made loads of money.
That's generally how business works. Yeah.
But Ed Helms is the modern Chevy Chase. It works
It's very
well.
good casting. It reminded me of Where the Millers. I think that'd be a good, fun road trip double bill.
It would.
Watch those two together.
I could go with that actually. That's a Matalan box set. That's what that is.
It certainly is.
You know, you get those crap Matalan box sets, two thematically connected but unrelated movies.
Put like a cardboard sleeve over it.
Yeah, exactly those. Yeah, you know the kind. But yeah, Vacation and We're the Millers. That's the Matalan box set there. I liked Vacation. I don't want to be optimistic enough to ever presume that we'll get a reboot of European Vacation, which I would really like.
Or Christmas.
Or Christmas Vacation.
But I wouldn't want to see a straight reboot of those ones.
Did you know that there was a direct-to-DVD sequel to Christmas Vacation now? There is actually a Christmas Vacation 2. There is.
With Chevy Chase?
With Randy Quaid, I believe.
Oh, that's why I've not seen it.
Yeah. No one wants to see
The best thing he's ever done was fly up a giant spaceship in Independence Day. And die for our sins. That's the best thing he's ever done.
In the words of our generation, die for our sins, Randy.
Number 6.
This is moving down. Pixels.
Which I liked. I think a lot of people have been quite surprised by how much more mainstream appeal it actually has, how much less irritating Adam Sandler is in this dialed-down form.
Plays it straight.
He does play it relatively straight. He's playing Fry from Futurama. I don't think there's anything more to say from there. Yeah. Did you get to see this in the end, didn't you?
I still haven't.
You still haven't. I did find it ticked the boxes, and it was enough to make you want to go to the retro arcade afterwards. spring for the IMAX, spring for the 3D. You will enjoy it. Just pop your recorder in the slot, and what is it? What's the arcade money in this country? I can never remember. Is it like 50p?
It's like 50p or whatever.
50p. Pop your 50p in the slot and then switch off and play the game.
Play some Pac-Man.
Yeah.
Number 5.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
This has gone down quickly, hasn't it? And you know what? It's glossy, it's slick, it's fun, it's sexy.
Vikander is great.
Vikander is great. Although I liked Cavill and I liked
they're a great duo.
Armie Hammer. They are a great double act. They're not Alicia Vikander though. Vikander, sorry, and she is amazing, and she needs to be in every film ever, in my opinion.
I like Hugh Grant as well.
A great appearance. I'm just sorry.
Cool, like M kind of character.
There isn't enough Jared Harris though for my liking, which I think is a shame.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But I did have a lot of fun with it. I don't think it's got the momentum and oomph that Kingsman had.
No,
but
I can't see it kickstarting a franchise. But
no, I don't think so either. As opposed to Kingsman, where yes, they probably can make a franchise out of it. Though I will stress that doesn't mean they should.
Number 4.
And speaking of franchises, Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation. Where is Hunt?
Where is Hunt?
Where's Hunt?
But now Alec Baldwin being the best Alec Baldwin he can possibly be in a movie that's got Tom Cruise showing you how good Tom Cruise can possibly be. Because that's what Tom Cruise does. Tom Cruise goes away, his public persona annoys you, and then he comes back and does a film and reminds you why he's a movie star, and then lather, rinse, repeat.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
That's it.
And I can't wait for the next one. I can't wait for Mission Impossible 6.
I'm really happy, actually. We have reached a stage with the Mission Impossible franchise where we are starting to get something of the regular ensemble going, where we have Ving Rhames, Jeremy Renner, Simon Pegg. We have this ensemble cast now that's... Because it seems to... It goes seemingly at the rate of like a 24 cast, where every season they add one new cast member to the long-term roster.
It's usually the girl character.
Well, the girl gets recycled every time.
Interchangeable, yeah.
But they collect guys. So
They
collect guys.
Okay.
But I'm...
Is that like a Scientology thing?
Yeah, it's like a Scientology thing. They're inducting new members into the franchise every time. It is a shame, however, that they will not likely keep Rebecca Ferguson around because she's great in this.
She is fantastic.
Number 3.
Sinister 2, a new entry.
Rhymes with Sinister Poo.
That tells you all you need to know.
It is rubbish. The final 15 minutes had me wanting to bang my head against the chair in front just to drown out the incessant noise of the garbage coming out the screen.
Yeah.
Really slapped together sequel, really ham-fisted. Not particularly... There are moments, actually, that were interesting, but the film on a whole really isn't particularly engaging. I disliked more or less everything about it, to be honest.
Number 2.
But you absolutely love this next one, Inside Out.
Bing Bong!
I play Mean Nose.
I love
so
Bing Bong.
Good. Bing Bong is incredible.
But no, such a great film. I was in the Disney store on Oxford Street recently, first time in a couple of years.
That is just wall to
so
wall.
much Inside Out stuff.
Wall to wall Pixar.
Oh god, I tell you, I could have spent a fortune on Inside Out toys in Disney. I really could have. It was insane. And Inside Out is one of those franchises that every time you see the merchandise for it, you instantly get transported back in your mind to having seen the film. And like, oh, I want to watch that again because I love that bit, and I love that bit. And I love Amy Poehler in it, and I want to buy this Joy doll. And
I want all of the Anger merchandise.
Yes.
You can get an Anger mug with his square, like his head.
You can buy an Anger lunchbox in the shape of Anger.
I need that.
I
need
know.
that in my life.
See, this is the problem with our generation, Case. We're sort of too warped by Disney, it seems.
Yeah.
It really does.
I have bought into the machine. Absolutely.
I have as well.
Just take
but
my
yeah,
money.
Inside Out, it's great. Go and see it. Take the kids and have an enjoyable, heartwarming family film experience.
Number 1.
Paper Towns is our number 1.
Well, it's kind of a modern John Hughes type affair.
Yeah, I can see what they're going for, definitely. You can see
what
their
they're going
influences.
for. I don't think this is anywhere near as good as The Fault in Our Stars.
It's nowhere near as good as a John Hughes film.
It's nowhere near as good as a John Hughes film, no. What is your favourite John Hughes film out of interest?
Planes, Trains and Automobiles.
Really?
Yes.
I kind of...
Or Uncle Buck, because that was my favourite film when I was a kid.
Really? I'm torn between Weird Science and She's Having a Baby.
I do like She's Having a Baby.
Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it?
It is difficult, yeah. No, it's a debate for another time anyway.
Yeah.
But Paper Towns, I don't see the hype with Cara Delevingne. I really don't. No. I like Nat Wolff in there.
I like Nat Wolff.
Halston Sage gets a great little performance in there, and I want to see more of her.
Are you saying that you would prefer her to be...
I would prefer her as the...
Yeah,
I could almost
lead.
Understand it. I don't know if it's a performance thing, if it's a writing thing. But no, Halston Sage is a better female lead than Cara Delevingne, and... the two sidekick best friends, they get a decent role in it as well. Okay. The problem with the film for me is it's a little bit... I don't know. The second half is better than the first half. Once it gets on the road trip aspect of it, it is more engaging than the first half, which is the exploration of this sort of one-sided relationship you don't really particularly care about. Yeah. You're more interested in the friends, for instance, than you are Nat Wolff and his unrequited love for Cara Delevingne. But, hey, it's trying to be a modern John Hughes film, and you know what? It's close enough that you can give it a free pass. Yeah. And also, it follows The Fault in Our Stars. It follows on, from the making of The Fault in Our Stars.
That's it. If it kind of captures the same kind of tone, if not,
it's got kind of that tone, yeah, and that's enough to give it the pass, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Some more film news then, Mr. Allen. So we should start with the Civil War news.
Let's start with that.
Because the two opposing sides for Marvel's upcoming Captain America Civil War have been revealed.
They have.
On the one side, we have a team fronted by Captain America.
And who's in the Cap team?
This is going to include Bucky Barnes, or the Winter Soldier, Sam Wilson, a.k.a. the Falcon, Agent 13 from Winter Soldier.
Of course, yeah.
Played by Emily Van Camp. Yeah. And a new costume for Hawkeye on that team as well.
He's gone blue.
He's gone blue, yes. Is it blue or purple? I can't tell.
I think it's like a bluey purple. Are we missing someone as well?
We are missing, I think, Scarlet Witch on that side. But,
Mr. Scott Lang.
Oh, Scott Lang? Yeah, of course. You know what it is.
He's little.
He's little. You can forgive him for missing him. But on the Iron Man side, you have the Vision, you have Black Panther, you have Black Widow, and you have War Machine. I want to point out, though, that although we're missing Scarlet Witch, we're also missing Spider-Man as well. Yeah. So
it's very curious.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens with that one. Gideon Raff, meanwhile, he's one of the two co-creators of Homeland. Hitman, Howard Gordon, who created 24, is one of the 24 creators. Okay. Well, Gideon Raff, who's the co-creator of Homeland, and a show that I really love called Tyrant, he has announced he'll be returning to feature filmmaking with Operation Brothers, which is going to be... this is going to be about the Ethiopian Civil War. So, it's an interesting topic. I mean, it seems to pick pretty dark. So you look at Tyrant, for instance, he picks pretty interesting.
I'm not too familiar with Tyrant, really.
I would recommend watching it. It's basically Lawrence of Arabia in present-day Middle East.
Yeah, sold.
Lawrence of Arabia, I'm thinking more of a Ben-Hur or Spartacus type of, one of those old epic type stories.
Even more so.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. It's dialed down for television, but it works flawlessly. Adam Rayner's a great lead in it. Right, Anne Hathaway has signed up for an interesting project. Okay. This was, I will be honest, I read the headline, Anne Hathaway to star in The Shower, and I couldn't click an article fast enough, if I'm honest. Anne Hathaway has signed up to an alien invasion comedy called The Shower. And the basic plot of this one is a group of women at a baby shower witness an alien invasion of Earth and have to, save themselves.
Okay.
This sounds like it could be that scene from Trainwreck Gone Bad. Right, meanwhile, speaking of things gone bad, Joaquin Phoenix and M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Is it Shyamalan? I can never remember. It's Shyamalan, isn't it? But it's spelled Shyamalan.
I think it's Shyamalan.
Shyamalan. Okay, so Joaquin Phoenix and Night Shyamalan, they're going to re-team on an upcoming mystery project, which is also going to include Jason Blum, with whom Shyamalan worked on The Visit, which is out, I think, next week or the week after.
That's very under the radar, that, isn't it?
That really is. Yeah. You almost get the impression they didn't want to widely advertise a new M. Night Shyamalan. Or to give it his Scrubs name, Night Shyamalan.
Night Shyamalan.
But, so I said to him, yeah.
With the latest film news and reviews, this is Offscreen.
So on to We Are Your Friends then. Now, you didn't catch this one. Did it appeal to you at all?
Okay, so when I first saw the trailer, it did not appeal to me.
Did not appeal
the more I've heard about it, the more I've seen the extra trailers and interviews and stuff, the more I'm kind of intrigued by it, really.
So this is to say, at the risk of sounding shallow, you look at this film and you think it's a movie about DJing, starring Zac Efron, the girl from the Blurred Lines video, and its marketing department want to keep referring to it as #Waif.
#Waif is how we've been saying #Waif for weeks now.
So you can be forgiven for expecting it to be a little bit.
It's a little bit shallow. Fast. That's a good word for it.
Somewhat feckless. You are without feck.
One without feck.
As Eddie Izzard would say. Although, did you notice absolutely anything disappeared from the top 10?
Absolutely nothing. Yeah,
it's absolutely nothing. Right. So what you've actually got though is something a little bit more than that. But this is the story of a young aspiring DJ played by Zac Efron, who is attempting to sort of forge his way into a sort of mainstream populist career. He encounters a known commodity DJ named James Reeves, played by Wes Bentley. Bentley, who sort of takes him under his wing. The pair become friends, and James Reed starts to basically coach him, teach him the ropes, as it were, and sort of give him a path onto the big time. However, as his relationship with James progresses and as he journeys more and more into the music side of it, he's forced to reassess not only his priorities, but basically what he's doing with his life in general. Here's a clip.
The beginning sounds like Skrillex's brother made it. And then right here, that sounds like early Juan Atkins to me, which is good, but you're trying to be too many different people.
I want a lot of switches. I want a lot of transitions.
Yeah.
That's what's crushing it now.
All that was missing was a hashtag. Imitation is suicide. Emerson said that.
Okay.
Look, you can make people dance, and that's half the battle. Any successful artist, they have this moment where they stop being an admirer and they find their signature.
So you've got Zac Efron, who I'll be honest, I quite like at this stage.
I quite like some Efron. I like Efron.
He's
Good.
broken out of that high school musical sort of
Yeah,
phase.
I think he's got a very good team behind him. He's got a good publicist.
He has, hasn't he? He's got his taste in projects seems to be actually quite calculated, and he's not just chucking out a film and like shotgun style, not machine gun style, belting out films.
Yeah.
He seems to be picking them quite carefully, and it shows with this film, which in actuality is something like akin to sort of a softcore Bret Easton Ellis type adaptation. It's kind of a sincere, a sort of modern coming-of-age tale for the Snapchat generation, if you will. Because the film is set around, people in their early 20s who, sort of that kind of mid-college, post-college lull.
Is that quite a good metaphor then? Because you'll just forget this film almost instantly.
It's
gone.
The 10-second timer will
disposable.
You won't forget the film. I did remember some kind of things of the film. Emily Ratajkowski, I did remember, for instance, she's kind of bad in this. She's kind of terrible. Like, I don't like her at all. I mean, she has nothing to do in this film but show side boob and gyrate to some music and basically bide time until she gets that Zac Efron sex scene that you all know is coming. Because, he's a good-looking guy, she's a good-looking girl. They're going to bone.
That's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Just
preordained.
This is going to happen. Arguably, her acting range, she's trying to go for this it's so natural kind of performance. And, what you get is something that it feels like an amateur porn star. It feels like an amateur porn star performance, only without the fun. And having recently watched, what was that documentary? Hot Girls Wanted, that was it, about the amateur porn stars.
Oh, yeah, the
Rashida
Jones one, yeah. I enjoyed it very much.
That's now given me a new insight into the acting range of amateur porn stars.
Yeah, so you can carefully assess and say that she has that level of skill.
She has exactly that level of skill. And, it's debatable. She actually seems to get more of a defined role in the Entourage movie than she does in this, and that's really saying something. Meanwhile, you've got Wes Bentley, who's having quite a visible amount of fun, sort of relishing in the very fractured...
He's having a bit of a resurgence recently.
It is, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think I blame Hunger Games. That's right.
It's that beard. Maybe he sculpted it himself.
That's it. I mean, he's got a surprising amount of introspection and a sort of bemused fun that he injects into this performance. And then, of course, you've got John Bernthal, a.k.a. The Punisher, the new Punisher. And John Bernthal is doing that thing that he always does, where he's got a sort of unlikable character, but the absolute unflinching swagger that he bolsters it with makes him kind of engaging and interesting. You kind of can't stop watching it. And he's given the sort of walking, talking representation of all that's wrong with the world sort of a role.
Yeah.
But you know what? You still like him because it's John Bernthal.
That's it. He's always given that kind of role, isn't he? He's never been the lead, as far as I'm aware. No.
I'm hoping Punisher changes that.
I think it might.
I hope so. So you've got writer-director Max Joseph behind this, and this is his feature debut. And the Bret Easton Ellis thing, I think, seems to be quite conscious. He's injecting that Easton Ellis style into it, and he does it quite effectively, with a notable amount of confidence. There is a sequence in which, almost breaking the fourth wall, Zac Efron's character relays the mechanics of DJing to us, the actual physiological biomechanics of DJing.
So I don't know if I need to know that.
And it's interesting. It's strangely alluring. It's well executed. It makes the point entirely well. There are sequences like this. There's a PCP drug sequence in it, which is it's almost out of Fear and Loathing. It's kind of a lot of fun. It reminded me a lot of the Rules of Attraction. You saw that adaptation?
Yeah.
With James Van Der Beek and Ian Somerhalder. And then, of course, you've got the story, which is kind of mechanically predictable and a little bit plodding. And it's the film's ultimate shortcoming. And that's kind of sad, because the scene-to-scene plot movements are what lets the film down. And it lets it down. The name we were looking for, by the way, is Brett Paulak. He's the cinematographer on this, and he was the cinematographer on Short Term 12.
Which is a wonderful, beautiful-looking film.
And his work translates here as well. His cinematography here is equally beautiful. You've also got Fat Segal, who does the music for it, and obviously given the style of the film, it has to be a very specific one. And what you want is something... Those things are underserved by this very mechanical scene-to-scene plodding plot. And what you want from this film is a new song, and what you get is a remix. And that's kind of sad.
Okay.
So, of course, Jennifer Lawrence and Amy Schumer. We have to talk about this one.
Yeah,
this is the weirdest
cool.
pairing ever.
I don't know, I can kind of see them hanging out and being pals.
Because they're not even like the same age. It's like a decade between them.
It is, yeah.
But they sort of become unlikely friends in a strange way. And now they've announced they're going to be teaming up to co-write a comedy together in which they'll play sisters.
Yeah.
Now
I can see that.
works, although I think you'll struggle to find a better sister for Amy Schumer than Brie Larson. But
I would rather just see a spin-off.
You would.
Yeah, like kind of like a This Is 40 style, but we just look at Brie Larson.
I know you would. You really deeply
She
love
wouldn't
Brie
even,
Larson,
have to act. I'd just look at her.
So we've got that. We've got Key and Peele to talk about as well. So Keegan-Michael Key, who's one half of Key and Peele, we're both big Key and Peele fans.
Big time.
Keegan-Michael Key has joined the upcoming comedy Don't Think Twice.
Okay, what's this about?
This is being directed by Mike Birbiglia.
Really?
Yes, this has got some interesting pedigree.
And he's
to it.
in Trainwreck as well.
He is as well, yes.
He's very good in it.
He has that great cameo. Oh, it turns out I do like girls. But, yeah. So, Luke Bracey, meanwhile, who is the lead of the upcoming god-awful, it looks god-awful to me, reboot of Point Break.
Pointless Break.
Pointless Break.
Pointless Break.
So we've got this upcoming remake of Point Break starring Luke Bracey as Johnny Utah. And... You know when you take it away from Keanu Reeves, you realise how stupid that name really is.
I think that you should have just been Johnny. I mean, you can do the best Keanu impression when I know.
Good down, buddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Luke Bracey. I've not got the body for surfing, that's really... I sort of look like a manatee on a cracker. That's what I look like.
Manatee on a cracker.
Manatee on a rectangular cracker. That's what I look like. But Luke Bracey, who's the lead in Pointless Break, has signed up for the latest film to be directed by Mel Gibson. I didn't know. Mel Gibson's going to be still directing films, so they'll still let him do that. They won't let him star in them.
But he can direct them.
He can direct them. So, I'd be very intrigued to see what the press offerings for that one are.
What is the title of this? Because I feel
this is
like
going to be called
about this.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Yes.
Hacksaw Ridge, which is going to be... This is a true story of a World War II soldier named Desmond Doss, who's going to be played by Andrew Garfield in the film. It's the story of the first conscientious objector, the first pacifist, to be offered the Medal of Honor for bravery. And it's going to star Luke Bracey and Sam Worthington, because why not? And here's the weird one. Vince Vaughn's going to be in it as well.
Really?
Vince Vaughn.
Because True Detective.
Because True Detective? Question mark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
It is very much that case. One final piece then. Jason Mitchell, who plays Eazy-E in Straight Outta Compton. We'll talk about him when we get to that review. Yeah. He is going to be joining his other co-star from Straight Outta Compton, Corey Hawkins, in Skull Island, which is the reboot of King Kong we keep talking about. This is also going to star Brie Larson.
Yeah, Toby Kebbell. And potentially John C. Reilly.
And Tom Hiddleston, of course.
In the lead, yeah.
So Tom Hiddleston's like the only person that stayed consistent on that project, I think.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, so Eazy-E, Jason Mitchell, he's going to be joining. So
that's cool.
They don't know anything about his role other than that he's going to be a pilot of some kind.
He's going to be a pilot.
He's going to be a pilot, so we shall see. Should we do Barely Lethal then?
More like barely watchable.
I think slightly higher over than you, but this is the story of a sort of Luc Besson style, almost Leon-like teenage child spy. Sort of teenage, isn't she? She's about 15.
She's about 15ish, yeah.
Played by Hayley Steinfeld, who realises she knows nothing of a sort of actual regular teenage life. She thinks her childhood has been taken away from her by the organisation for which she works. When she is left for dead on a mission, she seizes the opportunity to go undercover at a local high school. Well, not really local. Is it really?
No, she's like in the middle of nowhere. Finds a school.
Finds a high school. Poses as a Canadian exchange student and seeks to crack what it really is to be a teenager in high school in the modern world. But of course, it's not all going to go according to plan when forces from her old life, both good and bad, seek to return her to the fray. Here's a clip.
She was last seen in Corsica 3 years ago. until she resurfaced 8 hours ago and will probably be gone in 8 more, unless we bring her in. Correction. Unless you catch her, Agent 83, and bring her in. Alive.
Wait, what?
Simmer down. You're B team, 84.
B team? This should be my mission. I studied the case file. She's over there sniffing Kesha, the new fragrance by Kesha.
I said simmer. You need to get your head in the game, Agent 83, because Victoria Knox will take it off.
So yeah, Samuel L. Jackson and Haley Steinfeld there. And this is the thing, because as I was saying to you, Samuel L. Jackson in this had a weird amount of overlap with his role in the Triple X movies.
Very much, yeah.
But, no, say, you didn't like this at all, I don't think.
There was, as we were saying earlier, there was probably 2 redeemable passing gags that Sam Jackson says. There's quite a funny Steve-O from Jackass cameo.
Steve-O from Jackass cameos in this.
Who gets a better role than one of the main villains.
This is strange. Gets a better role than Jessica Alba, in a strange way, doesn't he? But this is it. Like the central character, it's a film which struggles with its own identity. It does not know tonally what it wants to be. You've got, on the one hand, you've got this bubblegum high school movie. You've then got this 21 Jump Street style movie which wants to send up high school movie conventions in that great way which 21 Jump Street did, and then you've got this dark-hearted, satirical, espionage spy Luc Besson storyline going through, and the 3 do not work together. And arguably the bubblegum aspect is what seems to dominate the other 2. And it really makes for sort of an awkward and uncomfortable watch. And in the middle of all this, you've got a cast who all seem to be playing to different elements. Like, Jessica Alba seems to want that Luc Besson thing, as does Samuel L. Jackson. But Haley Steinfeld seems to want the Jump Street with a hint of the bubblegum. Then you've got Sophie Turner who wants just the high school bit. It's a very strange sort of combination. And then you've got to say, Steinfeld is enjoyable in it. I like her in it. I think she's quite an entertaining young actress now, and she has got a decent amount of range. She doesn't seem to do the same project twice, for instance.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
You got to go with that. But Samuel L. Jackson makes arguably the most impression in the movie. He's got this sort of Checky Cayo-like kind of instructor presence. I mean, because if you're going with the Luc Besson parable, it is a Checky Cayo role. I miss him in films. Why did he go away?
I don't know.
Has he
bring him back?
I haven't seen him in anything since Addicted to Love in 1997. You dishwasher! But he was the best thing in that movie. It was an awful movie. He's the best thing in it. But yeah, Villain Bad Boys. I loved him in that.
Yeah, but Sam Jackson is a good sort of stand-in for it.
Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson plays it quite well. And Samuel L. Jackson gets a surprising number of the film's greatest laughs, of which, admittedly, there are only really a handful, because you've got this tone which doesn't quite
Isn't
gel.
If it's comedy or whatever it is.
Oh, exactly. That's the thing. It wants to play the sort of fantasy versus reality of teenage life aspect. And it has moments where that really works. And then it just gets overshadowed by everything else. There are so many sequences which play with the idea of high school movies and how they bear no resemblance to an actual real-world high school. And it works, but then they just get cast aside for plot elements which do not add up. And it's a shame. You want this basically to be Mean Girls with grenades.
Yeah.
And what you get instead is this bubblegum-afflicted cartoonish mess. It's kind of like it's like watching a bubblegum bubble actually burst on someone's face.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's like. The constituent elements, what it wants to be, you can see them. They are visible. But aside from the original intention, it's...
No. Yeah. I think what I really, really wanted it to be, I wanted it to be a quite short sequence in Kick-Ass 2 where Hit Girl goes to school.
Exactly.
But I just wanted it to be a better version of that with an actress I like infinitely more than Chloe Grace Moretz, because I really, really like it this time. I've liked since I saw her in True Grit, like everyone else, I guess.
That's it. You can't deny she is a great actress.
It just did not deliver for me.
No, that's it. That's what I wanted. I wanted the Assassin Goes to School element from Kick-Ass as a movie. You don't get it. And best intentions aside, it doesn't quite measure up. The intention is more entertaining than the finished film, and the finished film is it's just below average, I would say. It also doesn't seem to have a defined target audience. I can't figure out who this is for.
Who would really want to watch it? Who would want to download this thing? Because it's not getting a full mainstream release.
No, that's the thing, because it's on video on demand. You buy this one online.
VOD, yeah.
We should, of course, take the time actually to plug our competitions.
Yeah, let's do that. We've got a few things.
So we've still got Sinister 2 going on, which is you win a T-shirt, radio, keychain, camera.
We've got Hitman stuff.
We've got the Hitman stuff, which is the flash drive neck tattoo. You get the T-shirt with the red tie,
I like
the gun strap on it.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
It's some pretty cool stuff at Hitman. Any of our competitions are always available on onscreenfilm.com. Competitions are on the main page, or there is an entire competition section for which you can peruse and enter at your leisure.
Yes.
We don't ask you to answer questions.
No, why would we ever do it?
Why would we make it that challenging? No.
We just want to give this stuff away.
We just want to give it away. Yeah. You go on.
Go for whatever you want.
Just sign up. We'll send it out to a lucky winner. Onscreenfilm.com, competition section. So, should we have some more film news? One final batch, I think.
Just one more batch. Let's do it. What have you got for us?
One more batch. Oh, Leia Sadu, of course, from Blues and Lawless Colour, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. And
now it's going to be Spectre. Yeah, she's going to be the Bond girl.
She has been offered the female lead in the X-Men spin-off Gambit.
Now, this is interesting because quite a few fantastic young actresses were up for this, including our favourite, Miss Ferguson, Rebecca Ferguson.
Interestingly enough.
But she has ultimately just won the part, hasn't she?
She has. Meanwhile, we've got Vin Diesel, who has now confirmed via Instagram, of all things, that...
because he is the king of social media.
He really is. Yeah. Clearly, he's second only to Stephen Amell. Vin Diesel's now confirmed he will be returning for XXX3, and it's going to start filming at the end of the year.
Was anybody really looking forward to it? Was anybody like, I really hope we do XXX3, apart from yourself?
Apart from myself. You know about the tattoo, right? Just out of interest.
What tattoo? What?
You've never seen this, have you?
No. Wow.
You've never seen that?
So, okay. Van has a XXX tattoo on his arm.
I do.
Wow.
Yeah, I had that done for a bet years ago. I won that bet, would you believe?
Okay.
So, Shigeru Miyamoto, who is the general manager of Nintendo, has expressed a desire by the company to move into the feature film business. And there have been little inklings about this for some time. And it looks like it may actually now happen. So,
might get a Zelda film.
Well, if you don't know this, it's been a company mandate since 1993. I wonder
Coincidentally,
that they will not make movies out of their products for fear of them being inferior. This happened to coincide with awful reviews for their one and only attempt at such a thing. But,
no prizes for guessing what that is.
Yes, it starred Bob Hoskins and Johnny Legs.
Johnny Legs.
John Leguizamo. Diablo Cody, meanwhile, has announced that she will not be attempting to direct a film ever again following the spectacular failure of 2013's Paradise. Although this was a film which starred Russell Brand and Julianne Hough. What did she really expect from that?
Nick Offerman was in that, I think.
Yeah.
I think people just, she is a great writer. I think she'll just focus on that.
Yeah. One final piece then. Bryan Cranston. A.K.A. Heisenberg, A.K.A. Walter White.
A.K.A. Trumbo.
Exactly. Has been set to join James Franco in an upcoming comedy, which I don't have the title of this, but he's going to play an average father. Average farmer.
Like you were like above average farmer.
Above average farmer. Average father who dukes it out with his daughter's smarmy boyfriend, played by James Franco.
I can see that.
Yeah. This sounds like Fear without the psychopath aspect.
Yes.
So, Gil Grissom and Mark Wahlberg, we're going to substitute that out with Bryan Cranston, James Franco. This sounds like it could be interesting. It could be like a Bad Neighbours kind of thing.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it kind of works. On to, of course, the biggest release of the week, the most high-profile release of the week, Straight Outta Compton.
Straight Outta Compton.
Does anyone pronounce it in a way other than that?
No, you have to do it like
Straight Outta Compton.
Yeah.
But, right,
I can't say the rest of the words.
You really can't. I don't think broadcasting laws allow us to, really.
No.
But, so this is, of course, the biography of a biopic for NWA. Yeah. So Ice Cube, Eazy-E, Ice Cube, and DOC to... what lyrics are they from where they actually say it that way?
Is it Gangsta Gangsta?
No, it's one of Dre's later ones. It's
I've been listening to
Forgot
NWA.
About Dre. I think it's Forgot About Dre.
Yeah. I've been listening to NWA pretty exclusively this week.
But so we've got this biopic now. It's produced by Ice Cube and Dr. Dre.
Yeah, and you can tell.
And you can tell it's basically the depiction of their rise and, well, I want to say fall, but really it's ... continued rise and how they became the voice of an unheard minority, really.
And then Beats headphones.
And then Beats headphones. So this is how Ice Cube, and DJ Ren, Eazy-E and Co. got together. DJ Yella got together and formed NWA in the face of resistance from the authorities, from the US government itself. and of course became the voice of an unheard generation. Here's a clip.
Your songs, they glamorize the lifestyle of gangs, guns, drugs.
Our art is a reflection of our reality. What you see when you go outside your door?
I know what I see.
And it ain't glamorous.
You get AKs from Russia and cocaine from Colombia.
And ain't none of us got a passport, so might want to check the source.
Yeah, next question.
Will you be more careful about what you say, how you say it?
No. Probably not, no.
Wow. Freedom of speech includes rap music, right? But we exercising our First Amendment as far as I'm concerned.
And the government wrote that.
So that's the press conference there in which NWA are asked to justify sort of their, their standing and their attitude, really. Attitude making, of course, the final one of the final A in NWA.
You can't say the first one.
You can't say the
first one.
We just say with attitude.
With attitude.
With attitude, there you go.
Yeah.
So, right, where to start with this film? You didn't get to see this in the end, did you?
No, and it's pained me greatly. I tried on 2 separate occasions yesterday to watch it, and it was
sold out every time.
It was sold out, yeah.
Right, so on the one hand, what you have is quite an entertaining biopic. I do have to say entertaining. It is entertaining in terms of, just a general experience. You're not going into it for truth or honesty, anything like that. It is quite entertaining in what it is. It hits the right moments, the right movements. It is quite emotionally moving in places. It's quite, in other places. And, it's got a very likeable cast. I do think Jason Mitchell is the undisputed star of the film now, as Eazy-E.
Eazy-E, yeah.
Because he also has the most to do in terms of the aspects of the character of Eazy-E as depicted.
I've always thought that Eazy was the most interesting one.
Well, that's it, because the film depicts him as being quite unwitting in the early stages of NWA. He's sort of drafted into it just by chance, kind of a thing. He's not really one of the founders of it. And of course, the film does one service, which I feel is long, long overdue, which is to actually give Ice Cube more respect and recognition and representation for what he actually achieved in hip-hop. Which is something in the mainstream we don't really ever acknowledge, and the film nicely rectifies this. It does, however, contain a certain amount of whitewashing as regards Dr. Dre.
Yeah, but there is something that is left out.
Well, there's quite a few things. There's basically Dre's entire personality, which is...
There's a certain theme.
Yes.
Say, yeah.
As far as Dre goes, there does seem to be a lot of PR work at play.
He's got a lot of money.
He has got a lot of money. Right, so you've got really the central story, which is the band, their impact on American culture, but then that is kind of cast aside continuously for this lengthy dispute over royalties and financial incentives and sort of corrupt dealings by Paul Giamatti's sort of financial manager character. And it's that aspect that feels quite dry, because you're really getting into the cultural side of it over and over again, and then they keep deferring you to this financial side. You're like, I don't care. Can we go back to the riots in LA, the Rodney King? The Rodney King incidentally is really offhandedly dealt with. It's given about 2 or 3 minutes of screen time. You're thinking, no, because this was the band that meant so much at that time, and it was such an intrinsic event to the evolution of this band. And why is Black society not represented more by this film in lieu of who's Paul Giamatti giving the money to? Because I don't care about that. Yeah. I saw Love and Mercy. I've seen him do this.
You've seen that character, yeah.
I've seen Paul Giamatti do this before, and you and I reviewed Love and Mercy together.
We did, just a few months ago.
So, I mean, Dre's real-life personality is entirely absent from the film. He's played as a very, very nice boy. But I will say this, Corey Hawkins plays him expertly. Really, really well. It's an expert performance from Corey Hawkins, but I will stress he is playing the character of Dre.
Not Dre.
Not in any way Dr. Dre. The performance for Ice Cube, I have to point this out. O'Shea Jackson Jr., who is, of course, the real-life son of Ice Cube. It is such a spotless, flawless performance as Ice Cube.
Almost eerie.
It's almost comical, isn't it?
Yeah.
It just is Ice Cube. It is. And you sort of think,
perfect.
Well, you've kind of got no excuse not to be, really. It's kind of like asking me to play my dad. I'm pretty sure I'd do a spot-on job.
Yeah, well, you've studied that character for a while, haven't you?
Exactly. As a solitary film in its own right, though, Straight Outta Compton, it is solidly enjoyable. It's more than a little moving. It's very engrossing. F. Gary Gray's style packs in quite a gritty punch. I like Gary Gray very much. I don't remember him before. He was he was a television director, then I think he broke through with films like The Negotiator at the end of the 90s, and I really liked The Negotiator. I love the style of it as well. But his natural sort of gritty style does work wonders for the film.
It was going to be John Singleton.
I did hear that, and you almost feel like John Singleton would clearly have been the wrong choice. I think he might have gone too glossy, too whitewashing with it.
I agree, yeah.
And F. Gary Gray, I think, would bring slightly more truth to it, but apparently still not enough. Naturally enough, it boasts the soundtrack of the year. What's not to expect from that one? But it's hard to ignore the sort of flawed interior. It's hard to ignore the cracks in the surface that are just allowing you to peer at what's going on at the centre of it. And what's going on at the centre of it is, look, we're nowhere near as bad as we really were. It's all our financial manager's fault. It's also got this...
Blame the white guy.
That's it. I mean, you feel like this should have been a shoe-in for Best Picture. This should have been a shoe-in for next year's Best Picture award. But what you've got is a film which instead isn't treated with the objective approach that it truly deserves. There's clearly too much intervention from those involved. They've stopped developing the film once it's reached the level of, oh, it's dope. And don't get me wrong, it is dope. It is dope.
At least 90% dope.
It's dope. 90% dope. It's dope as hell. But... You know what I'm saying? When you've got a film that's all about, hey, we're the voice of an oppressed culture, and then you end it with, and then we sold some Beats headphones for $3.2 billion.
Well, you said that when you saw the screen of this, which was a preview press screening, it opened with a Beats trailer.
It did open with the Beats. Hey, why not go on Beats.com and download this app and pose for you? You're like, no. I mean, adding insult to injury, I want to point out that I did leave this screening, and this is a moment of almost real-world irony, where you leave the screening for Straight Outta Compton, and you go on, you take out your iPhone, and you go on Apple Music, which doesn't work, by the way. Worked for about 3... Apple Music does not work. Everyone acknowledges this now. And you try to download Dre's Compton album, as it's now called. Yeah. And, of course, you're not able to download it because Apple Music doesn't work. Apple Music, which, of course, owns Beats. And that, for me, I think... sums up the film for me. But I say, you're still presumably going to see this.
I'm definitely going to see it. You've not dissuaded me at all.
It's an enjoyable film. However, it's not the NWA film that I wanted it to be. It's a great film. Okay. It's not the NWA film.
Have you heard what is apparently in the pipeline next? Because we should just say there are a couple of people playing other hip-hop luminaries. So there's a Tupac cameo.
There is a Tupac in there. It's a great cameo as well. The guy really looks like Tupac.
There's a Snoop cameo played by a guy called Keith Stanfield.
Well, he's got the voice and he's got the movement. He doesn't look like Snoop.
Okay, so there is a rumour going on that there's going to be a sequel focused on that relationship.
Now that would intrigue me.
Yeah.
So we need to decide on a film of the week.
Well, I've only seen Bear Lethal, and I'm not going to give it to Bear Lethal.
Well, I'm going with We Are Your Friends. I think of everything I've seen this week, I would be most intrigued to see We Are Your Friends again. You know what? It's like a beer and pizza movie. I would probably give Hitman the time of day again as well. And I'm
surprised by that.
Would be intrigued to see Straight Outta Compton. I think Barely Lethal is the only film this week that I wouldn't watch again. But best film of the week, I'm genuinely going to give it to We Are Your Friends.
It's a waif. #waif.
#waif. So, we've got some interesting stuff to come next week, however, in the meanwhile.
I'm quite looking forward to next week.
Well, next week we've got No Escape, in which, for the first time in 14 years, Owen Wilson's trying an action thriller.
What was the last one? Is it Behind
Enemy Lines?
Yeah.
Do you remember it had its release date? It had its release date bumped up after 9/11, if you remember.
I do remember that, yeah.
It was, and it's been regarded actually since as one of the shrewdest and most effective marketing moves of film release date moves ever created. So I say we've got that to look forward to next week. No Escape with Owen Wilson and Pierce Brosnan.
Lake Bell, yeah.
And Lake Bell, whom... Why? You're the only person who likes Lake Bell. Besides Lake Bell.
I am... No, I'm definitely not, man.
We also have, of course, American Ultra with Jesse Eisenberg and
looking forward to that, yeah.
This could be good. I'm looking forward to Topher Grace. That's
Sorry, just quickly speaking about Topher Grace, did you notice there is a photo in Barely Legal that is Topher Grace?
Yes, I
And then he's just not in the film.
Yeah, it's strange that, isn't it?
He plays someone's dad, and then he's not in the rest of the
film. How depressing is it, though, that Topher Grace is now playing someone's dad?
Oh, yeah, that as well.
Yeah. We've also got Me and Earl and the Dying Girl. That's next week.
Very much looking forward.
We have Ricky and the Flash next week.
Oh, we'll be fine.
Yeah, this is Meryl Streep's token
classic Meryl.
Her Oscar entry for the year.
Yeah.
It's like clockwork.
Rick Springfield's in it.
Like clockwork every year now.
Just tick it off.
What's Meryl's Oscar thing this year? Oh, we're doing Ricky. Okay, cool. We've also got Dope, which is, I believe, produced by Forrest Whitaker, isn't it?
He's certainly in it. I don't know if
is he in it? I thought
he's definitely in it.
And, of course, the reboot we've all been waiting for, The Transporter Refueled. Yeah, so we've got all
no
that.
No Statham, no thanks.
Yeah, no Statham, no thanks. This one does, however, have Ray Stevenson, aka Punisher number 3. So,
Punisher the Third.
Punisher the Third. So we've got all those to come and more next week off screen. This has been a Candy Store production for On Screen. I've been Van Connor.
My name is Kase. We'll be back next week.
Just show me the way to get out of here, and I'll be on my way.
You've been listening to Offscreen. For more news and reviews, visit onscreenfilm.com.